literally the most popular short story on YouTube with over 2 million views at the point of us recording this talk. The Egg by Andy Weir. Talking about it today.
Andrew is killing it. You call him Andy? I'm not that good of friends with him.
You're not that good of friends with him? Well, I mean, you did read Artemis. You did read The Martian. So I feel like, you know, maybe you could name drop the Andmeister with him.
Well, I did not read Artemis. I listened to it by the amazing Rosario Dawson. So
for some of us, we consider that reading.
Maybe I am on your level because I am you.
We are at one. The Egg, published on Galactanet on August 15th of 2009 by Andrew Weir. By Andrew Weir.
I gotcha.
Welcome to the CodeX Cantina, where I am Una.
And I am Eggless Crypto. Or I am Una, too.
So we take some of the most popular stories in literature and talk about what does this mean in our lives? How do we take this and apply it in a way that may be positive? And for this story today, I kind of wanted to look at this maybe... What are your thoughts on looking at this from like an empathy thought experiment?
I think that's the perfect way. I almost feel like he wrote it this way. For me, I feel like that was kind of the intention, is to get people talking, get people thinking, get people out of their comfort zones and have those bigger questions of life. Like, what does it all mean? And be able to do it, I think, from a very simplistic approach. And that's one key takeaway I took from this story, is it's a very complex idea put to a simple narrative.
What's interesting, and we'll leave a link to listen to and read for free, they actually did this really cool animation. Maybe that's why it's so popular, is the animation's so cool. But to me, I like the way the story opens up, boom, you're dead, right? And isn't that a question we all want to know? What happens to us when we die, right? But sure. I don't even think that's where Andy Weir wanted to take this one. Because the first thing that kind of happens is this guy goes, is my wife and kid okay? Right? And that's when this godlike figure is just like, that's what I like to hear. You know, thinking about other people first, immediately setting up that tone of empathy, of thinking about others before yourself.
Yes, and it is set up in a way, too, where if you think about the way the story's told, it's told in second person, which is very unique, as you're kind of the god character talking to yourself, telling yourself what happens. It's very meta, and I think that kind of plays into this idea of caring about other people. And
I think, doesn't it have like kind of like a little bit of like a casual vibe to it too? Like when we read Kurt Vonnegut, he definitely has like this flippant, like, whatever, like even though it's like some big thing. You know, and I think Andy Weir sets up that atmosphere really well, where they're talking about like, well, all religions are kind of right. And I don't think we're supposed to like analyze that or talk about what we think is right from the different religions. I think that was more, we need to move past that kind of comment, but it did add to kind of like the casual feel of the story.
For sure. I think that one of the things that he did really well was, a lot of times when you read Vonnegut or Tolstoy or some of these other, literary giants that are writing religion and writing philosophy, is sometimes I feel like maybe they're a little bit biased towards their belief system. And I feel like what Weir has done here is allow everybody to come to the table and put aside our own indifferences and have a very casual conversation about what we believe happens afterwards without getting too nitpicky about which deity we worship.
Well, and then also when you move past like an established religion, like if you're making the argument from the point of Christianity, well, then that comes with certain expectations, right? So if we assume Christianity is real, then there is a singular God that is performing the arbiter of morality for the entire universe. What this God says is correct, whether you agree with it or not. If Christianity is true, that's true morality, right? And what this story does is, by breaking the assumption of, moving with a very common, Western religion, by breaking all that and you're just kind of experiencing it for the first time, I think he gets to kind of the main thrust of the story, which is empathy and the idea of every time you were mean, you were being mean to yourself. And every time you were nice or kind, you were being nice and kind to yourself. And I think this is kind of like a very poetic version of the if you walked 500 miles in another man's shoes, like you'd be able to think or see the world the way that they do. And I think he kind of sets that up beautifully in this story by breaking the traditional norms of religion and just establishing the law of empathy, if you will.
I think it also hints into that interconnectedness of as people. A lot of different religions have the ideas of souls, or the ideas that we are connected through our energies or our chi or whatever you want to call it. And that is one of the nice things in the story too, is it gives everybody an opportunity, an equal opportunity, because we are all equal, because in the story, we're literally all the same person. And we're all connected together, and what we do together can be positive or negative, but it's always just affecting ourselves. And I think that's kind of something that we're all looking for in life, is what is that meaning? And for many people, they get that meaning from other people, but they're not other people. They're just yourself. So you can be true to yourself. And I love that Weir's kind of saying that is what you do to others is good, but what you do for yourself is equally as good.
Can you imagine how many times this narrator has probably told the story?
Well, what is it? I knew it one time. I don't know off the top of my head. I think it's something like, in the total estimation of how many people there have been alive on the planet, I think it's around 11 or 12 billion. Maybe it's 15 billion. But we don't know how many times that he's gone through the iterations, because that's kind of towards the end of the story. He says, well, what's going on here? What's happening here, God? And he said, well, basically you have to live through every life that has ever existed for all time on Earth, and then you will evolve into a godlike figure or deity yourself. And so we don't know where he is in that. Is he 10% through? Is he 95% through? Because his memory gets reset every single time that he's lived a life and gets reincarnated as himself again, but a different life he's going to live. And so we don't know where he's at, right?
Yeah, I can see that. But here's the question. Let's assume there's like this community of gods that you evolve into. Why? Why does he working this person like a piece of clay a billion times over until he finally understands other people?
I think that it's allow him to evolve, because at the end of the story, he's like, the whole universe is an egg. And so the whole universe is created as an egg that gives life to a new deity. And I think this God wants a new friend. And so he's basically allowing a new friend to grow up. And in order to grow, we have to suffer and enjoy, and I think that's kind of what's happening. So God needs a buddy to play cards with. he needs a fifth for poker.
It's a good thing that like he kind of forgets every time, because otherwise, like, imagine being married 500 million times and like remembering all these different anniversaries. I barely can remember one anniversary, let alone the entire universe's anniversaries. That'd actually be kind of annoying, maybe, if you actually remembered all of your past lives.
You definitely forget all of your kids' birthdays that are your own birthdays as well.
Whoa, and you're your own kid. Whoa, this is getting weird. Okay. Okay, let's wrap it up here, guys. Hope you had fun with today's conversation. Just a quick talk about what is ultimately a very popular and interesting story. What did you guys think and take away from it? What was your thoughts on this whole empathy and morality discussion that we had here today? Let us know in the doobly-doo down below, and we'll look forward to talk to you in the future. We post videos every Monday and Thursday. Una out.
Peace.